Okay, so this is kind of like an add-on to yesterday's notes where we were working with polynomials. But now what we're going to be doing in today's practice is we're not going to practice more of what we did yesterday, but rather instead we're going to, why is it doing that? Is this better? Instead what we're going to be doing is we're going to be evaluating polynomials. So I want you to put that as your title, that we're evaluating polynomials for a given value. So they'll say, evaluate this for a given value. So they will say, evaluate the polynomial when whatever the variable is in it, maybe it's y, when y is equal to a certain value. We already know how to do this. It's just that what gets tricky with polynomials is they have sometimes several terms and then they have powers going on in them. Okay, so we have to make sure, first of all, that we substitute into them correctly, and then we use order of operations properly. So number one, we're going to do, here's our, first of all, our polynomial, 4m minus 4 minus 4m cubed, lots of 4s, lots of subtraction, lots of m's. We're going to evaluate that polynomial when m is negative 2. So we need to do it for m is equal to negative 2. Now, this is just a question. I'm not saying that we have to do anything like put it into it, but is this in standard form?
No.
No.
No, it's not right now, is it?
No.
What would need to be in the, which term would need to be in the front if it was actually in standard form?
4m to the third.
The negative 4m to the third, which is a good point right in itself. We're going to change all this subtraction right now, though. I'm not going to make you put it into standard form because it really doesn't matter for evaluating, but I do want you to change it to add the opposite before we do substitute into it because we'll be more successful that way. So now we can see that if we did want to put it in standard form, it's actually a negative 4m cubed that would be in front. What would be the next term after that if it was in standard form?
4. Negative 4.
After the 4m, if we put
No,
this
just
in,
kidding. The 4m.
the 4m would come next, and the negative 4 would be last, wouldn't it? Can you name that polynomial for me? What kind of polynomial is that?
No, cubic.
Cubic.
Trinomial.
Trinomial, because it's a degree 3, right? It's a degree 3 polynomial. It has 3 terms, so it's a cubic trinomial. Okay, so just kind of like a little bit of practice of what we learned yesterday, and yet you'll also still be doing on your homework today. So we're going to substitute in. We're going to put negative 2 and put it in everywhere we see that an m in that polynomial. So negative 2 is going in where those m's were. And we have to be careful in our substitution step, or we set ourselves up for not being very successful without that. So, order of operations. Well, we can do term by term though. So can we do anything here? What's 4 times negative 2?
Negative 8.
Negative 8. So that's going to become negative 8. Negative 4 is? Negative 4. We'll just leave that negative 4. Should we now in this next one, this is where it starts getting tricky. What do you think? Do you think we should take negative 4 times negative 2 and then cube it? Or should we take negative 2 and cube it first?
Cube it first.
Yeah, we have to do the power first. We have to take care of. So we're going to, this negative 4 is got to stay negative 4. We aren't going to take negative 2 times negative 4 and get positive 8. We're going to take negative 2 to the third power. Yes, Jessie?
So would you get the same answer if you multiplied first and then took it to a power?
I don't know. We'll check it out.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody happen to know what negative 2 times itself 3 times is?
Negative 8.
Negative 8, yes. It's negative 8.
And 32.
Okay, so now let's do, we have this multiplication to do before we can finish it up. Next thing would be take care of that multiplication. So we have negative 8 plus negative 4 plus what? 32. Negative 4 times negative 8 is 32. Next, let's add these negatives together here. What's negative 8 plus negative 4?
32.
No, you're multiplying.
Oh.
Add. You owe somebody $8, you borrow another $4 from them now, how much do you owe?
Negative 12.
Yeah, so it's negative 12 plus 32.
And negative 20. Or 20.
And this would be a positive 20. When one of them's negative and the other one's positive, all you have to subtract their distances. So you take 12 away from 32 and say I got 20. But the 32 is further away from 0 and it's a positive number, so our answer will also be positive. So 20 is our final evaluation for that polynomial when m equals what? Negative 2. M could be other things, but when it's negative 2, it's 20. Now let's just go back and quickly let's do this right here and see if we think we're going to get 20. Negative 4 times negative 2. In other words, if we did the multiplication first, what is negative 4 times negative 2? Positive 8. So that's 8 to the third power now. Get your power table handy. Anybody happen to know what 8 to the third power is? What is it, Jesse?
512.
512. Okay. So we're going to have, now down here where we have this 32, so here where we have that 32, that's now going to be 512. So negative 12 plus 512. What's that?
Not 20.
Not 20, that's for sure, yeah. Well, come on, you guys can do this.
500.
It's 500. So it's not 20, is it? So does it matter?
Yes.
It does matter, doesn't it? So you guys don't need to write this down. This is not part of your notes. No, don't get confused. No. It's us trying to see, is order of operations important? Is it? Should there be should there be two different answers for when m equals negative 2? No. No, there can't be two different answers. There can only be one, so order of operations is important. We were just checking out to see, well, what if we didn't follow the order of operations correctly? What would happen? Okay? Any other concerns before we do one more? Then you're going to go to work on homework. Okay, number 2. We have the following polynomial, negative 3a plus a to the third power minus 1/3 a squared.
Can we do this one by ourselves?
And certainly you can try this one on your own. For a equals positive 3. So you're evaluating it when a is 3. So go ahead and try it on your own, see what happens.
Someone clapping.
Yeah, it's coming from that bed up there.
I'm just holding.
So it's really important to make sure first of all do a good substitution step. Which is all the further I am right now than my substitution is all.
So do we take that 3 and square it, or do we do 3 times 2?
What do you think?
I have no idea.
So why would we take 3 times 2 there? Because it's a power, right? What does a power mean? 3 squared means
3 times 3.
3 times itself.
So I leave that 1/3 there.
Remember what happened in the last one when we thought we could get away with multiplying first? Did it work? No, so we don't want to multiply first, we want to do the power first.
Yeah. So then I take my 3 squared, right?
Yep.
Gosh. Yay, I get it right.
And don't try and do too much in one step because that's what's going to get you in trouble with these. Take your, take your time getting there. Use lead, use lines of paper, it's okay. Anybody have an answer yet? What do you get?
21.
21?
21.
21.
I got 15. I got 16.
Oh, wait.
We got a variety of answers.
Never mind, that's negative 3, put positive 3.
Oh, that's a negative 1/3, yeah.
Not the negative 21.
And 1/3 of 9 is 3, and a negative times a positive. Okay, so I'm taking that. I'm feeling pretty good about, what I've got going here. Next time I'm going to do this. That is negative 9 times 27.
No, not that, no.
Isn't that 18?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 18 plus negative 3 is positive 15. I think I like Haley's answer.
21.
Oh, you were using what we had last time. Yeah. Okay. So, did you get there? If you didn't get there, you need to have this. You have something good to follow, because again, probably one of the most important things is when you're doing these, you got to make a good substitution step, and then don't try to do too many things in one step. Don't, especially if there's when you're that negative 1/3 times 3 squared. Don't try to do all that at one time. Don't use your calculator. Remember, we're not using our. We're trying to stay away from our calculator and use. If you have to use the powers table, use it. Okay.